Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Let's Play Dark Souls Remastered. My name is Dave Klein of Dave Control, and this is obviously Dave Control Play, my Let's Play channel. Basically the way that I am going to do this, and how I do a lot of my Let's Plays, is I tend to talk a lot, so if that's not your thing, just give me the heads up now. For Dark Souls, I talk about the lore of the games, so I'm going to be going through the lore, talking about that really in depth. I'll be talking about gameplay, game design, things like that as I play through. Probably talk about some Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 2 connections. More so 3, I think, than honestly. For this particular playthrough, I think I'm just going to have fun and not worry too much about things. As opposed to... I like doing a specific build or anything like that. I don't really have in mind what weapon I'm going to use or anything to that extent. I'm just going to have fun. If you guys aren't coming from my main channel or don't know me from my main channel, I guess lore videos and all that were what I'm known for, but I do a lot of other stuff too, so yeah. Get that sweet receding hairline. I'm not going to worry too much about the character builder. I'll shut up during the cutscene that's about to happen, so we watch the cutscene. Also, I'm going to do a couple special things. I'm doing no HUD, and I'll probably do no music as well. I'll debate on music because I like having the Firelink Shrine music and Ancient Dragon music, but I don't want any music during the bosses just because I want to talk about that. But let's accept this character and jump into it.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death. And of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. The first of the dead. The Witch of Asylum and her daughters of chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty lords peeled apart their stone skills. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. Seath, the Scaleless, betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
All right, so something that I want to talk about is actually the accursed dark sign, and I'm going to read the lore of it when we get to it, but in the Ring City DLC
Yes,
from... Oh,
indeed.
I'll shut up for a little more.
The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Why, oh, why? Oh, yeah, something I'll also talk about is the light, well, different things from the remaster that I noticed or have noticed. I know a lot of people are upset about the remaster. Some people aren't. You know, that's just how it is with things. No matter what they did, people would be upset. Alright, so let's get the dungeon cell key. Let's take a look at it real quick, and then I'll talk about the dark sign, which I wanted to talk about. A mysterious knight, without saying a word, shoved the corpse down into the cell, and on its person was this key. Who was this knight, and what was his purpose? There may be no answers, but one may still, or must still forge ahead. We, of course, know that's Oscar's Astoro, who we'll find out more about in a second. The dark sign is what I want to talk about. So the dark sign signifies an accursed undead. And the thing you want to keep in mind is the word is it signifies an accursed undead. Those branded with it are reborn after death, but will one day lose their mind and go hollow. Death triggers the dark sign, which returns its bearer to the last bonfire rested at, but at the cost of all humanity and souls. Now, the question with the dark sign is it something where the people who are branded with it are reborn after death because they're branded with it? Or is it they're branded with it because they're undead? Like, which came first? The branding of the dark sign or the undeath? That's I think a really important question, especially with the Dark Souls 3 DLC, where we find out in the Dark Souls DLC that the gods apparently created the dark sign. Now, it doesn't specifically say Gwyn did, but the gods did, as we see in the Ring City armor. Here you can see the stray demon if you pay attention, chilling and walking around. I think my thoughts on this are that the gods had a war, or I should say Gwyn specifically, had a war with the Chaos Demons after the Chaos went out of control, and Gwyn won the war. We know that from Quaylog's cut dialogue and some other indications, but I think that part of one of the terms of Gwyn winning the war is that the demons, or certain demons, have to serve them. Like, there are a whole bunch of things. Most demons are restricted to Izalith. Other demons, such as this one, are serving Gwyn and acting as guardians for the Undead Asylum. People have debated where the Undead Asylum is and what parts, like what land it's in. A lot of people think Thorland, as Thorland very, very strongly hates the Undead. It's where the Way of White is, so we're very anti-Undead, which we're also going to talk about a little bit in this Let's Play. But, because I kind of had some revelations while I was writing my lore video that people might have already had before, but whatever. They're the ones that I had as I was rewriting it and replaying the game. Yeah. Okay, so if you look in that window right there, I'm sure you could do this in the original Dark Souls, but I don't remember being able to see it through this window. You can see the Asylum demon up there, chilling and waiting. If you get the binoculars, he has this really horrible devilish grin that's actually really creepy looking. But, so yeah, again, if you look up there, you can see the Asylum demon up in the ceiling there. Man, I wish I had the binoculars just so I could zoom in on him. Let's go ahead and try to kill him. Wait a second. I do have it equipped. Good. And, yeah. What's up, Asylum demon? So, you can try to kill him this way with your sweet broken sword. It's a little boring and takes a while. That's why I decided to grab the black bombs. Or black fire bombs. The thing is, I was gonna say, sometimes I feel like I can do this, sometimes I actually can't dodge him that much, and I screw up a little bit too much. Overall, he's really not difficult at all. That's why he's the first boss, but for a new player, he is. The first time I played the game, I struggled with the Asylum demon. But yeah, like I said before, with him, you know, the whole point is, I think, because of losing the war, this demon now is essentially serving Gwyn, and Gwyn's reign is very strong in Thorland, which is why that's kind of another indicator this just might be Thorland where the Undead Asylum is. But, and I don't know. I don't know if anyone knows. Oh shit, okay, time to switch over to the black fire bombs at this point. Well, I had enough fun, but I think I'm probably almost dead, so I'm gonna cheap it. Because, you know what? I'm just having fun. So, oh shoot, I forgot to turn off the music. Because this was a really good point where I wanted to talk about the lack of music. So I'm going to do that for a second. For killing him, you get the Demon's Great Hammer. I didn't really need it because I'm probably not going to do a build where I can use it. But let's go ahead and take a look at that anyways. Demon weapon built from the stone archeries, used by lesser demons at North Undead Asylum. The hammer is imbued with no special power, but can merrily beat foes to a pulp, providing you have the strength to wield it. I do find it interesting that's built out of the archeries, actually. I don't know if you start with 10 fire bombs before or 5. For some reason, I thought it used to be 5, but I could be wrong. Let's go ahead and turn off the music before I forget. So, the reason I'm doing that is because, to me, it makes it kind of interesting with the bosses, where the bosses start to feel less like a big deal and more like just these larger enemies. It's really, the music does a lot. I guess it does make it a big deal, and you do feel it because there's not much music in the game other than the bosses or Firelink Shrine. But that's where you really, really feel it. Oh. Wait, the target shield's what you get? For some reason I thought it was the buckler. Small shields are less stable, and critical hits after parry is easier. So, anyways, I like this because it makes it easier to parry. Parrying is fun. So much fun. You know, people might give you shit for parrying too much. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to do no HUD playthrough. That's what I've been doing for lore videos, is I usually keep the HUD off as long as I can, unless I'm really struggling with a boss. And that's only, like, for older games. But I just replayed through Dark Souls Remastered fully for my most recent lore video. There's no reason to go here, but I just noticed this wall and wanted to look at it for some reason, because it looked cracked. I was like, what if there's a secret that I didn't know about? But I've really, now that I've started playing with no HUD, I actually really like it that way. I think it's fun to do the no HUD dance. No HUD playthrough. Alright, so the thing about Oscar that everyone knows at this point, but I'm going to point out anyways, if anyone doesn't, is that there's a hole through the ceiling, and Oscar has clearly been bashed in through it, and he's dying. And since we saw the Asylum demon jump from the top of the ceiling there, it's implied that the Asylum demon smashed him through the ceiling and killed him. And that is the strong implication that we get.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you?
You know what, Asker? You know what, Asker? That's what I'm calling you, if that's okay with you.
Regrettably,
sure.
I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. In thine exodus from the Undead Asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite. Oh, and this.
Yeah, so you get that big pilgrim's key from him if you beat the
Now
demon
I wish
early.
you farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Alright, so if we start to leave and come back, he'll start to die. I don't know exactly what the distance is. Maybe if I touch the stairs. I don't know if it's a time thing. I've watched him die before. Alright, I'm gonna stay here and look at the keys, and if we hear anything, we'll look over. Big Pilgrim Key. Key to the inner door of the Undead Asylum, main hall. Big key belonging to the chosen Undead Pilgrim. The chosen Undead knows not what the pilgrimage has in store. Yeah. Nope. And I doubt the Undead Asylum F2 keys has anything. Even if an Undead were to escape from a cell, passage to the outside world would not be gained easily. Or outside world would not be gained easily. The Undead Asylum is a giant undead prison segmented by countless iron bars. So, kind of already know that just by glancing at it. Oh, there we go. That's his death. Bye, Oscar. You're my bro. You let me out. I'm all sad now. I find it a little weird that you're sent to the Undead Asylum when this whole pilgrimage thing is really kind of a big deal for the gods. It's kind of it's not kind of, it is basically their last hope. So I find it odd that they would send you on a pilgrimage. Or, sorry, why they would try to prevent you from going on this pilgrimage. But regardless, this is all we're really given in the game, oops, initially, is, okay, you know what, you should go on the pilgrimage, and you gotta ring a Bell of Awakening. So as far as just straight up story goes, there's not much, and that's why people at first used to think Dark Souls had this really bad story. And a video that I want to make at this point, and I don't know, well, whenever people watch it, I'm sure when this video first comes up, I won't have made it yet, but I want to do a video on why the Dark Souls lore is actually a really good game design, and why it's such a good story in gaming. It's how games, in my opinion, should do story. Not every game, but it's a really good way to do story in games. This is a video that I really want to make. And let's talk about... I guess I kick you over. Oh, something to point out with the Undead. I think people pretty much know at this point. But again, I want to point it out. Is you have that scar on your chest in the bottom right there. And that's really not too important. I do find it interesting that that looks different. I guess it's your left the left side of your chest, but as we're looking on the screen, it's our right. But anyways, it's really not that important, except for when you look at the four kings, whose little scar on their chest has gone out of control and absolutely wild. And it's the only detail that I've noticed where it becomes significant. Because, you know, you can't see the dark sign on you other than the fact that you're carrying it. So, yeah. Hopefully I don't die from that. I was a little worried that that fall would kill me. Trying to go fast, you know? Sonic style. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about this area before we go. I think I'll talk more about the pilgrimage as we get on this crow. Velka Crow? I don't know. I guess I'll have things to say about the Dark Souls Remastered.
In the ancient legends, it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the Undead Asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Lordran. And here we come, over to Firelink Shrine, which isn't going to feel the same without the music. That's the one thing I don't like about turning the music off, is I do want to fight the bosses without it. But part of what makes Lordran feel so homely is the Firelink Shrine music, and I love the music so much for Firelink Shrine. It's still my favorite chill spot music from all the different Souls games. And Bloodborne, so Soulsborne games, I guess. Alright, I'm actually going to level up, because I don't care. Unlike last time where I was trying to do my level 6 run. If you want to see a level 6 run, it's on my main channel. I did it, I beat the game at level 6. Which was actually harder than the level 1, I think, in some ways. Not always, but some ways, because I couldn't use Pyromancy for the build I had. I didn't have enough attunement slots. So, yeah, that made it pretty difficult. Let's also go... I don't care about Vitality yet. I think... I'll go... let's go one more Dexterity. It's a little hard to decide, because I haven't decided what weapon I want to use yet.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the Undead, right? Well, you're not the first.
I actually think that's an important
There's
point.
no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the Undead Asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the Undead Church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
Okay, so I don't really care to talk to him again. I just want to get that bit of lore. So, the things that are important here... Well, A, obviously, if it's your first time playing, this is all you really get of the story. Is all you know is, like, okay, for some reason you're supposed to ring the Bells of Asylum, or Bells of Awakening, because that's the fate of the undead. That's just there's a legend that says that's what you should do, and you'll know the fate of the undead. Okay, sure, that's the thing. You know, there's not much for you to really think about that. Except, which again, with the whole thing where people thinking there's not really a great story to it, but... the thing that's important, they said, is that you're not the first person to come to do this. Like, apparently there's been a lot. This has been happening for a long time. Undead coming over to Lordran. And then he's probably not either. This is just the first, like, time of him. He's seen you. He knows that there have been a lot that have come, as of him being there in Crestfallen. So I think that's really important. And we just got a bunch of items. One that I want to talk about, because we're going to talk about it quite a bit in a moment, actually, is Lloyd's Talisman, which actually is a usable item. So let me go to usable items. Talisman utilized by Allfather Lloyd's Cleric Knights to hunt down the undead. In the outside world, the undead are cursed creatures, and Lloyd's Cleric Knights are widely praised for their undead hunts. This blessed talisman blocks undead recovery, allowing the knights to fight with impunity. So Allfather Lloyd is supposedly Gwyn's uncle, and he is basically the head of the land of Thorland and the Way of White. So those are some important notes to talk about. Also, something I want to talk about with the remaster that I like a lot is in the original game, if you picked up any consumable items, they automatically got equipped, and that's no longer the case, which I really prefer. The fact that it's no longer the case, I hated when they were automatically equipped. It's just really annoying because most of them I didn't want to use, so I'd have to constantly be unequipping things. So it's nice not to have to anymore. What I'm going for right now is the binoculars, if anyone is wondering. That's why I'm going all the way over here, just in case there's anything I want to look at to focus on when I'm talking about lore and other stuff. Let's see if I can get away from these guys without dying. I don't want to use this Zweihander. I'm just picking it up because I'm here. I'm actually going to use the dagger for a while. I might use the claymore because I've been finding that type of run to be fun recently. But yeah, I don't know. In my last run, I went down to the catacombs first on my level 6 run, but this time I'm not going to. That crow that carries you is very strongly associated with the goddess Velka, all crows in general, and we know that from the Painted World of Ariamis, which we'll go to Ariamis, there's a lot of connections that we'll end up finding. But the strongest one is that there was just an interview with Miyazaki and the design works for Dark Souls where he just talked about and blatantly said that the Crowmen are connected to Velka and the worshippers of Velka. So that's really where to go off of. Wait, how many souls did I have there? I only have 80, even though a skeleton killed himself? Okay. Let's also talk to Petrus, because there's something important that he says, too, that I want to talk about.
Hello there. I am Petrus of if not...
Not much for him to say at the moment. I'm just going to skip through the dialogue I don't care about.
Hello there. But I also want you to know... Here, no...
Whatever, okay. So give me that copper coin. You know what? I forgot who's on the copper coin. Let's take a look at it. Copper coin of Old Man McLoif. God of medicine and drink. Even good coins of value, blah, blah, blah. Even coins of great value in the world of men have a little value in Lordran, where the accepted currency is souls. So... doesn't really mean much of anything. I don't think Old Man McLoif ever comes up again in any other game, unless I'm mistaken, but I don't think so.
My. Oh, I have to await my... So what if I would that...
Yes, that would please me.
Well.
So we're going to join the Way of White, just for the sake of... Well, might as well join all the covenants we can, because I can also show some other things that are different about the remake.
Only
or remaster. Alright, so we can also get the shrug gesture, which is pretty sweet. But let's go ahead and talk to him, and I think this is going to be the lore I want to talk about.
My companions are Milady and her young... She is young, but burdened by an undead mission. We are her defenses, to keep her from harm.
Not yet, not yet.
An undead mission.
I think this is it.
Regrettably, I cannot share that with you. But you are my pupil. Perhaps if you show your faith.
Oh, that's what I have to do to get him to talk about it? Ah, damn it. How much does this give me? I want to have him talk about it because I actually find it really interesting. No, damn it. All right, I'm going to have to go kill some enemies and come back. All right, we're going to go right back to you, Petrus. I want to hear what you have to say about this undead mission. So, think about the... Well, that's... Okay, I want to talk to him because it's going to bring up what I want to talk about with the Way of White. That's really why I want to talk to him. So, I remember when I first played this game, parrying these guys was so hard for me. And I don't even think twice about it. It's just like such a natural thing. Well, just in general. But I guess that's what comes from playing Bloodborne and Dark Souls... Well, not Dark Souls 2. I can't parry for the life of me in Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 3, thanks for just coming to the right area for me to backstab you. I appreciate that. So, the dagger that I'm using is really good for parries, too. Its critical attack is way up. So that's why I'm kind of keeping it for the moment, because I'm going to do a bunch of parrying. No, you may not. You may not have me. Parry souls, everyone's favorite thing to watch. And I'm being facetious. I was looking up a video, because I didn't have... The only thing I didn't get footage of in my Dark Souls Remastered story lore video, the one thing was the Dark Lord ending. Because I'd only been in the game once, and I got like about halfway through the game a second time, but I'm kind of saving that save for some other things I need to record. And, well, I'll say in a moment.
Oh, I will teach you an undead mission, regret, but...
Okay, Petrus, you piece of shit.
Very well. I can surely tell you, of all people, undead clerics are given a mission to seek kindling. Kindling is the art of feeding bonfires with humanity. Through kindling, we shall one day be granted magnificent powers.
Okay, so
Come again.
let's take a look at what humanity is. Humanity is... This black sprite is called humanity, but little is known about its true nature. If the soul is the source of life, then what distinguishes the humanity we hold within ourselves? So... Their undead cleric mission is to get humanity and throw it in the fires, basically. That's the point. And it's not necessarily 100%, but I think that you could say the bonfires are probably an extension of the first flame. I think that's pretty likely the case. So another thing that we know, thanks to an interview with Miyazaki and Game no Shokutaku, I'm assuming that's the name of the radio show, it's Game, so it could be Game no Shokutaku, but it's probably Game. The other thing that we know, as I should probably continue playing, is that the humanity is an extension of the Dark Soul. Every single piece of humanity is a piece of the Dark Soul. And all humans have a piece of humanity, as well as all undead. That's what makes you human, essentially. If you kill anyone, like an invader or something, you get humanity from them because you've killed them and taken their humanity. And as creatures go hollow, they lose their humanity. But the point is, though, that, like I said, humanity is essentially an extension of the Dark Soul. And the undead clerics, not the normal clerics, but the undead clerics are specifically supposed to go through, collect this humanity or pieces of the Dark Soul, and throw it in the fire, or the first flame. So basically they're throwing the Dark Soul in the first flame, or pieces of it, and that's their whole mission. And they've been told that they're going to get a great power for doing so, for completing their mission, according to their legend. And again, this is the Way of White. The Way of White, as I discussed before, is headed by Allfather Lloyd, who is uncle to Gwyn. So, what we can pretty much boil it down to is the lords and Gwyn, and this is my opinion here, this is where I get a little more theory-ish, but basically the lords have been tricking all the Way of White members into furthering their cause of extending the Age of Fire by sacrificing their own Dark Souls into it. And if you look at the human Way of White members who aren't undead, like the Way of White says, hey, we're gonna go hunt you down and kill you. That's what the Lloyd's Talisman says. I mean, not kill you, but hunt them. So maybe hunt them and throw them in an undead asylum? I don't know. But hunt them down. Maybe it's to get their humanity. Maybe that's the sake. But the point is that they're supposed to go on undead hunts. And that's what the human ones do. But if you're part of the Way of White and you are a cleric, then you know what you should do is just go get more humanity and toss in the undead fire, you know, or the bonfire. So there you go. That's, I think, a scheme that I haven't seen that people mention, at least. I haven't read Reddit theories, really, so I don't know if people on Reddit have talked about that, but I've never seen a video discuss that specifically. And I put it in my news story video, my lore story video, and that's one of the recent, I guess you could say, revelations that I had, unless you disagree with me, which maybe you do, but that was a recent one that I had that I discussed. Did I pass by that house? Did I miss that thing? I'm gonna go check again. Because if I did, I missed that in my main playthrough. I don't know if I'm gonna go through all the side areas. Like I said, I haven't decided exactly what I'm gonna do for this playthrough or how I'm gonna do it. Oh, I did miss this in my main playthrough. I totally forgot that you could go into this house. And I missed the soul of a lost undead. By God. And that exit, that doesn't exist. You know what I was realizing too, as I was playing through again, is it's kind of funny when you look at some of the souls that you get and where the souls of heroes are placed. Like, the souls of heroes are typically placed in really precarious locations, like what's known as the Anorlando Archery Club, lovingly so. Of course, lovingly. For going the wrong way, or for going the harder way that you don't have to go, I should say, you'll get a soul of a hero. And I just think it's the developer's way of saying you're a hero for taking this route. It's almost tongue-in-cheek in a way to me, which I find pretty comical. So I think the only reason to really pay attention to those names is for the sake of that, for that, what I would say, tongue-in-cheek factor. What's dumb of me is that I completely forgot what I was talking about before. When I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break from talking about it to talk about Petrus of Thorland and all that cleric stuff that I wanted to talk about. So I should have just finished my points so I didn't completely lose track of what I was saying. Oh, look, it's the Hellkite Drake. I remember the first time I played this game, that was so intimidating to me. So as far as the remaster goes, I should mention that I don't play the game on PC at all. Right now I'm playing on PS4. I bought the game. Oh shit, I might die. Okay, I'm surprised I didn't. Hard to tell, because... There we go, now I'm dead. Well, I guess that's fine. I'm actually a little frustrated with myself to die at such a dumb spot. I should have gone and healed, but that was being not prideful. Can't think of the word. Where I figured I would do better. I was like, I'll do better than that. I'm not gonna die. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, so I'm more of a console player just in general. Judge me as much as you want. I don't care. There's a lot of reasons I play on console over PC typically. There are games that I much prefer on PC, like RTS games, where you just need a mouse and a keyboard, or adventure games are much better on PC, obviously, because controlling an adventure game. I mean, I played adventure games, like I played Grim Fandango on PS4 actually, as opposed to on PC. But you know, I think adventure games are another one that control far better on a PC. But I'm one of the few people who actually prefers playing FPS games on console. I know people think it's crazy. If you watch me play FPS games on a PC, people think I don't know how to play games. Then you watch me on consoles, I can kick ass. But on PC, not so much. Not at all. I'm just not good with a keyboard and mouse. Pretty much because I always grew up more so playing console games. And a lot of the games that I wanted to play or the games I was excited about came out to console. So that's part of where that came from. But also for me, nowadays, it's like I'm always on my computer working, and for me, my computer feels more like a work thing. Whereas it's nice for me when I come play on my consoles. I'm like, okay, now I'm in rest mode. It's like a different mode in a way. And even still, most of the games that I want to play tend to come out to consoles and not necessarily PC. Like, I'm a big Nintendo fan. Obviously, Nintendo Switch games do not come out to PC, so there's that. Good indie games are always PC first, and that's where I tend to miss out, or sometimes I'll have to play on PC. But, yeah. Let's get my souls back. Not that it matters that much. Man, when I first played the game, that would have been a big deal to me, losing some souls, and I'm like, oh, whatever, alright, I lost some souls. Big deal. That's how you know you played the game enough. Son of a bitch. Oh god, I'm... If I died again to that part, I've been so upset with myself. Oh my god, I actually might die again. I'm doing awful. For some reason, this one spot gets me more than most of the game, still, to this day. Oh, look, you can see Lower Undead Burg there. I feel like Undead Burg doesn't get enough love, and I've been trying to, like, boost up the lore of it. I wrote a video that was Dark Souls Lands, where I talked about Undead Burg and Lower Undead Burg, and just all went into the lore of it, and talked about it a little bit in my story video. Just because I guess it is kind of, it's the first area, and honestly, it's a little bit boring. But what I do find interesting about it is the fact that it is a full undead settlement that rose up, and I think that's pretty interesting when you think about it, that this actually arose and the undead created their settlement. So you have to think about it a bit, and you know, you can look at it and try to figure out the history of it, which I find fun. For example, it would seem to me that there were undead here who built their settlement before they went hollow, and then they all ended up hollowing out, which was the problem, and eventually see a burning pile of dead corpses that were probably hollowed out undead that they decided to take care of at one point, but then everyone hollowed out. Yo, you were supposed to die from that, actually? Just throwing that out there. I guess 3 hits when this dual-handed? Two-handed. That's how to do. Whoa. Oh, it's a Gravelord Serpent? Okay. I mean, I'm pretty not leveled, so I assume this guy's gonna be a way higher level than me, but I am curious. I am curious. It's been so long since I've invaded someone, a Gravelord Serpent, and I was playing offline for when I was getting lore footage, just so I didn't have any blood stains everywhere and messages everywhere ruining the footage that I was trying to get. Disasters are gone after defeating the Gravelord Serpent. Oh, wow, he is a way better... Oh, it's a giant dad. Okay. Oh, wait, no, he's on my side. I guess? Oh, there's another one. Oh, wait, so Spirit of Vengeance invaded. Oh, so now the guys summoned someone to attack us, I guess. Yeah, because when I first played the game, I had to play offline because this was on my Xbox 360 for Dark Souls original. Anyways, when I first played the game, I couldn't play it online because I didn't have Xbox Live at the time. I just couldn't afford it. And wait a second. Is he there? No. Okay. I like I'm just following Giant Dad. There. Oh, yeah. I wish I had the shrug. I should have equipped my shrug. Well, I'm glad I went in. I got an Eye of Death out of it. Now I can join the Gravelords really quickly. You need an Eye of Death in order to join the Gravelords. Whether you find it wherever. Well, thanks for... I'm glad. And I got some humanity. And a bunch of souls. That actually worked out really well, even though I didn't do shit. And what was I going to do? Oh, yeah, I was going to equip my shrug. Wave is good. Beckon's fine, sure. But let's do shrug. Now I got a sweet emote to use. Hey, are you there, bro? Okay. So if I'm going for the Uchigatana, I always kill this guy right away. But I'm not going to. So what I am going to do, though, is I'm going to buy the Residence Key. And we're going to sign the Soapstone. Also, now in the remaster, the Dried Fingers you buy from him, as opposed to getting it in the Painted World of Ariamis. Or Ariamis, so that's the difference.
Things are getting trenched for horrible goat and up above. There's that humongous... If you stick around...
So he tells you all the bosses right there. Well, the Hellkite Drake's not a boss, but... Anyways, I'm trying to get to the thing where he talks about Yulia.
Thank you, kind.
Anyways, if you notice... Oh, you know what I should do also is equip my Binocs. Here we go. So, there we go. He does that petting motion right there, and there's nothing there. It's interesting because even in the remaster now, there's nothing there. And he talks about Yulia. So people have always thought that... Well, not people. Just in general, there's this thing where he talks about how he loves Yulia, and Yulia's so great, and blah, 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 blah. And people have speculated that if you kill him, you get an Uchigatana. And people have speculated that Uchigatana is Yulia. But there's really no confirmation at all. And I remember I made... So my first ever Dark Souls video that wasn't a Let's Play on my channel, my first, like, pretty much edited, well-made video was 5 Strangest Things in Dark Souls 1. And I said that Yulia was the strangest thing, because who knows what it is. And I joked that maybe it was a rat, maybe it was Uchigatana, and joked about some other things that it could be, which made no sense because that was the joke. And people got so mad, and they were like, no, Yulia's the Uchigatana. Well, Yulia's obviously the Uchigatana, you idiot. So many comments about that, when there's zero confirmation of it. So, anyways, I just want to vindicate myself now that I can. Just, I can talk about it a little more and explain it, as opposed to people just yelling at me for a video that I mean, I could respond to in the comments, but essentially it just comes down to people yelling at me. It's actually better to drop off here than going down the other way, just because you won't get injured. Parrying feels so good. So good. Oh, I was early. I was really early. Well, screw parrying. I know I said it felt good, but screw it. It's over. I screwed up. I think I'm going to go for the Black Knight shortcut, which people probably know at this point, but I'm going to do it anyways. I found that it's easier if you roll to go for it as opposed to leaping, but I really do love it, that shortcut. I keep on seeing like a blue shine in the corner of my eye. I'm not sure what it is. I just keep on thinking maybe it's the Gravelord Covenant or something. Or Gravelord Covenant, the Gravelord or something. Can't level up, so alright. Well, YOLO then. I'll just YOLO for this shortcut. Nope. Also, I'm not sure if I have my Estus Flask equipped or my binoculars, so I should probably double check before I go on. That's the only hard thing about playing no HUD. For me, at least. I was like, wait, what do I have equipped? I don't remember. Oh, another thing I noticed too, this is a perfect opportunity, apparently I had Binox equipped, is that it really sets back your souls way more than it used to. So they're much further away from where you died. So you don't have to travel quite as far, but I actually think that's a bad thing. I don't like that they made it so it's... I liked it more when it was closer to where you died. Oh shit, I was late. You think after doing this for long enough, killing enough Black Knights in what's it called? In the Kill of the First Flame, I would just get them on my first try. But apparently not. Apparently not. Well, whatever. I did fine after that. That was the easiest one to do, though, that I messed up on when he runs at you. Oh, you're still not dead? What the hell? Bro, this should kill you then. I'm just doing no damage at all. Black Knight Sword and a Titanite Chunk. So, that brings up another thing I noticed with the remaster. And apparently, I believe it's confirmed. At least, unless they patched it, but... Or by whenever people are watching. And here's the fire I was talking about, by the way. Anyways, the thing that's different is the drop rates have been really drastically increased. Which I think is kind of a mixed bag of good and bad. On one hand, farming for like Titanite chunks and large Titanite shards and stuff like that is really boring to me. And I don't mind farming a little bit, but there's a point where I'm just like, okay, this is too much. So on one hand, it is nice that you don't have to farm as much for stuff like that. And if you're going for achievements like the Knight's achievement, the Knight's Honor, you don't have to farm as much to get all the items that you need for it, or for like PvP and things. So there are pluses. On the negative side, just looking at game design, it's actually it makes it so things aren't as special. Weapons aren't as special if you can just get them right away. What makes them special is the rarity of it. And that's actually, with Pokemon, I was reading interviews with Satoshi Tajiri for my Who Made Pokemon video on my main channel. And he was talking about how that was a big thing for him when he was designing Pokemon, was having different rarities for creatures to increase the want and desire for certain ones, because it made them much more desirable and interesting, and the envy of others if you got them for more rare ones. Or, I mean, it worked in for Pokemon's design, so you could trade creatures, and that was the idea for them, was like, oh, we want there to be a rare one, so you're incentivized to trade more. But I still think it's a good design point to bring up overall. There's another design point I do really want to bring up because of people's disappointments and differences with the remaster and how they feel. I'll say for my part, as far as the graphics are concerned, overall I do think it looks a little bit better than obviously the Xbox 360 one, but I actually think the lighting's worse. I don't like the lighting as much. Maybe it's not necessarily worse, I just don't like how it's done as much. It really reminds me of the Dark Souls 2 lighting engine for Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, which makes sense for that game because you have torches, but there's a lot of places where it feels really awkward, where you'll walk into a cave and suddenly the tones will just shift blue all of a sudden, which feels kind of weird, and there's other things about the lighting that I just don't like in this version as much. Graphically, it does look a little bit better. I just don't think Dark Souls needed a remaster. The 360 version and PC version looked fine to me. I would have rather seen a Demon Souls remaster, even though Dark Souls is my favorite game in the series of all of them, with Bloodborne being number 2. I would much rather have gotten a Demon Souls remaster, but not going to complain about when Dark Souls remaster comes to Switch, because I'm playing this before the Switch release, and that's really what I'm looking forward to, is being able to play it mobile. You're just going to stand there? Okay, dude. That was some shit. Some bullshit. I was worried that the other guy was going to hit me before I got to parry this one. So I'm debating if I want to rest at the bonfire again and use my souls, even though I was talking about how much I don't care about souls, or if I should just go to Havel. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I know what I'll do. I'm going to do a different thing, actually. I'll go the Havel route, but I'm not going to kill him quite yet. Just because I want to try to parry Havel. I don't think Havel's that difficult anymore. I used to sweat when I would fight him. Made me really sweat, but now, unless I'm trying to parry him, I'm like, whatever, it's just Havel. It doesn't matter. Oh yeah, I mainly did this so I could go in here. The other thing I really wanted to talk about, though, with the remaster, something that Jim Sterling was complaining about. I think I'm recording this before, actually the day before he's about to put out a new Jim Quisition. I'm recording this on a Sunday, and he did a Jim Impressions of Dark Souls Remastered as of me recording this, where he said he'd be doing a full Jim Quisition on the game, which I assume is going to be complaining about how it's not good enough of a remaster, because that's what he was talking about for the Jim Quisition, or Jim Impressions. But one of the things he was complaining about in his Jim Impressions, I 100% completely disagree with. And that's what I want to bring up. Is that pathway right there the same pathway from, that's in Undead Parish? Or, I mean, sorry, the Darkroot Garden? Or Darkroot Basin? I think it is. I think that's the pathway from Darkroot Basin up to the Darkroot Garden. I never noticed that before. Ever, until just now. Man, you still find some really cool shit replaying these games. I mean, I knew that the base of here is Darkroot Basin and, you know, connected to other areas. I guess that's, I didn't in my mind make that connection that that's exactly where it was. Or maybe I couldn't tell in the original game, but now I can. Huh. All right, anyways, for the Jim Sterling thing that I'm going to complain about. I'm going to complain about his complaint because I really, really disagree with it, which is why I want to bring it up. Oh yeah, so this, if you have the master key, you can just do this right away, which is why I always like starting as a thief, so you can do the master key and get another sweet starting gift. But basically, he was complaining that in Dark Souls 2, you can warp right off the bat. In Dark Souls 3, you can warp right off the bat. In Bloodborne, you can warp right off the bat, but you have to go to the Hunter's Dream, and then you can warp. So there's this kind of this workaround because in Bloodborne where it sort of disincentivizes you from warping because you have to go to the Hunter's Dream, which takes forever to load, and then warp out there to your new area you want to go to. But for Dark Souls 1, you have to wait until you get the Lord Vessel to warp. And also, this is one of my favorite areas in the game, the Darkroot Basin here, because of the Hydra, which I'll probably talk about later, because I want to keep talking about this warping thing before I forget about it. But, point is, oh shit. There's so many gravelords. Oh, I should probably be playing the game human, too, so I get invaded, now that I think about it. I just haven't really been thinking about it. Warping, though. Warping. So, anyways, he thinks that he was talking about how he thought the remaster should have it so you warp right off the bat. And that's one of the improvements they made in future games. And I could not disagree more. I actually think, A, it's not only not an improvement. Shit, I want to get away from him so I can heal, because the whole point of me coming here was so I could get that bonfire and not die from Havel by accident. And again, I should be pretty good at parrying these guys now, because of all the practice I had to killing the first flame. Shit! Shit, shit, shit. I feel so dumb. I feel so dumb. Please, please, no, 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 no. God damn, I'm so bad at running away from these guys. Actually, I'm just being bad about it. If you want to run away from these guys, the best thing to do is try to slide past them this way, and then I can run down here and make plenty of headroom in getting away from him. Which I should probably do and just use the bonfire. I was afraid I would just die right there. And at least then I'll have the bonfire, so I can fight him and not worry about it and not be stressed out about it. Get your rest, son. There we go. Now I can... Oh, wasn't I going to... I'll level up after I kill him. So here's the thing about warping with the game, though. And to talk about... To air my grievances with his thoughts. So basically, this entire game is designed around the idea that you can't warp, as opposed to Dark Souls 3, which is designed around the idea that you can warp. But the point is, one of the shortcuts that I think is an example of why warping is a terrible idea in this game right off the bat is the one that goes from Undead Parish, right by the Bell Gargoyles, to... And look, now that I'm not stressed out about it, I'm having zero trouble with him. Anyways, I remember my first time playing this game. That's what you have to think about it, is your first time playing. My first time playing the game, that was such a huge deal when I got that shortcut. It was like, oh my god, I can go back to Firelink Shrine quickly. It's like being able to go home again. after I'm in this like scary area that's so hard. But now I can go home again, and it was such a rewarding shortcut. It made you realize how interconnected the world was, A, when you get that shortcut, which is super rewarding in itself. But B, it's also just, you know, it gives you that great rewarding feeling of like, oh my god, I can go home again. And that's a huge deal, and it's super rewarding because of that. All right, let's get some strength. I'm gonna get all strength so I can get that claymore, because I think that's what I'm gonna go for the time being. If I'm gonna read your guys' comments in between recording these episodes, so I mean, if people have other ideas for what I should do, I'll read it in terms of builds and things like that. But at the moment, I'm thinking claymore, just because I think it's pretty fun. It's sort of like a berserk build, guts build. So, anyways, the game again. This game specifically, Dark Souls 1, is designed around that idea of no warping. Another example of that is the catacombs. So my first time going to the catacombs, I worked my way down slowly and had a lot of trouble doing it. And now I know there's all these really cool shortcuts. I actually like the catacombs. A lot of people hate it. I really like the catacombs, just because of how many different routes and ways there are to get back down. But the point is, once you get down, if you use a bonfire, all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, I have to get back up. Now if you're clever, you can always not use a bonfire. Oh, see, when he two-hands, you can't... I don't think you can parry him when he's two-handing. Unless I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty positive you can't. Ha! I got the parry. That's all I want. I just wanted one parry just to feel good about myself and be like, I can parry a Havel if I want to parry a Havel. I can get it. But actually, you know what's kind of safer with him too, as opposed to what I'm doing right now? It's safer to let him swing at you once and then roll past him and then just, you know, just wait for the timing of that, do the roll past, and then get the backstab. But anyways, with the catacombs, they're specifically designed where they're harder to get back up than they are to go down. Now that's a really on-purpose design when you look at it. And the whole point is it makes it so you can get in this situation where you go down the catacombs and then all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, I have to work my way back up. And it's its own challenge within itself. And if you can just warp right off the bat, it makes that whole thing pointless. And you can argue, well, it's optional. You can do that if you want. Just how I'm playing with no HUD. The HUD's optional, right? You can say, well, it's optional if you have warping off the back. But it completely negates that feeling, though, if you make it so it's optional. Like, again, if you get to the bottom of the catacombs and you can just warp, why wouldn't you just warp back up? Like, yeah, if you want, you can work your way up, but there's no reason to do it. And also, it doesn't give you that feeling of tension. There's a real feeling of tension when you get yourself in a situation like that where you're like, oh, crap, how do I get back up? Oh, no, this is much more challenging now. And it also makes it so throughout the entire game, and again, this is more so your first time playing, but throughout the entire game, there's going to be that feeling of tension now where you're going forward into an area that's unknown. And even if you get a bonfire, you're kind of stuck there and have to figure out how to get back. It's a completely different game feel than being able to warp anywhere you go and warp wherever you want. It completely negates that tension that exists when you can warp right away. Like that bonfire that I just found, for example. There's nothing exciting about it if you can warp right away. What's exciting about it is when you find it and you're like, oh my god, okay, I have a save point after doing all this exploring now. Where at least I have somewhere safe that I can call a home base for a moment. And again, if you can warp, you find you can be like, all right, whatever, I'll warp back to the Undead Parish. Or any point you find. All right, fine, I'll warp back. What are you doing, Havel? He's like, I'm going to guard this door for a moment. So it makes me... oh my god. I can't believe I survived that. Honestly, it makes me question how much he understands game design. I like his videos, and I like his take on the industry as a whole. Let's check how much that hurt me. I bet I have like 1 health left. Actually, let's look at it this way. 12.1... Wait, no, that's equipped load. 552 HP. Somehow that didn't hurt me. I guess it just stunned me. Wow, that is what I call luck right there. That is so much luck. I can't believe it. That's just the luck of me, you know, complaining about things and throwing some lore in people's faces. Oh, the blue Tearstone ring, by the way, has a whole nother meaning to me in this, playing the game this way. Whole new meaning. Because if I'm using the blue Tearstone ring while I'm playing with no HUD, all of a sudden it... Because honestly, if you have the blue Tearstone ring and it shows up, if you get hit again, by the time it shows up, you're probably going to die from the next hit. But playing this way, since I have no HUD, all of a sudden it has a whole new meaning. Where when I see it, it's like, oh my god, now I know I have to heal. It gives me that indicator that I don't otherwise have because I'm playing no HUD. But anyways, the whole point of the warping thing is I think it completely changes the feel of the game. Completely. It's a whole different thing. And at that point, you can say, like, okay, why don't you just make it optional? You can make it harder for if you want. But it negates the feel of it. Nothing feels as intense or difficult if you can just warp if you want. It takes it away. And again, at that point, you can say, like, why don't you just add a map? Why don't you just add all these other things that Dark Souls doesn't have, which are part of what, to me, make it the enjoyable experience that it is, and why I enjoy the game as much as I do. But, guys, that's about an hour, so I'm going to wrap up this Let's Play. I know I didn't go fight the Taurus Demon or any bosses this episode, but we can call Havel a boss, sure. I somehow survived against. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Dark Souls Remastered. I'd love to know your thoughts on all the things I talked about, the warping discussion specifically. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think. And before I wrap up, though, I guess I should say, I don't have anything against Jim Sterling at all. I like his content. I enjoy it. It's just that one specific point really struck me the wrong way, where I was like, how can you say that and say that as an objective thing where warping's better and an improvement? Not only do I agree it's not, objectively speaking, it's not a good or bad thing. It's just a different feel, and it's whatever you prefer. That's being objective about it. Subjectively, I completely disagree with him, and it takes away why I like Dark Souls so much, or what I enjoy about it, and I think the other games haven't been designed as well as far as world design goes because of that factor. Even though Dark Souls 3 is built around it, which is why if you look at Dark Souls 3, you take an area like Aldrich's area, not the area that you actually find him at, but the area that he's supposed to be, which I'm blanking on the name of, but that has the giant tomb with the people who worship Aldrich and all that shit. There's one specific bonfire where next to the bonfire there's two gates that are locked. And you go all this windy path through, and you open up a shortcut that takes you right back to the bonfire. And you're like, cool. The next shortcut's obviously going to be where you go through another windy path, open up another shortcut right back to that bonfire. And that's all that bonfire exists for, is these other shortcuts that exist just to bring you right back to that exact same bonfire. And that is how they designed it around warping, to make it so warping doesn't matter, where they can still give you that same feeling of discovering an exciting shortcut that brings you back. But to me, that's not as well designed as Dark Souls 1, where the whole world is designed around that concept. Until, obviously, you get warping, which is when all of a sudden you get these faraway branches, where they then change the design of the areas. But I just don't think that's subjective. I would say, in my opinion, that's not as good a design. So, anyways, that's my point in a nutshell. Thank you guys for watching. Next time you join me, we'll talk more about remastered differences, probably if some come up, like the fact that this fire effect I think looks better, but the smoke effect when you sit I think looks worse. So things like that, maybe. We'll talk about more Dark Souls lore, obviously, and we'll talk about maybe other things, whatever comes up. Thanks so much for joining, guys. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Later, guys. Peace. Actually, later, guys. Peace.